KGVO Missoula Sports Talk Tonight and streaming online at newstalkkgvo.com.
Live from Washington Grizzly Stadium, it's Montana versus Valparaiso.
Now.
Wait a minute, Denny.
Hold on there, son.
No. I get ahead of myself, and I'll tell you why in a second, but this is Sports Talk Tonight with Gerns and Bedard. We are in the Garden City, Missoula, Montana. You can't see the mountains for the smoke in the air, but at least we're not up in Seeley Lake. I was up there yesterday, Denny.
Air quality hazardous.
Wow.
How scary does that sound?
Wow, it was
feeling for those folks.
It was bad. I went up there to for work. I was up there for a couple hours. Like I got to head back. It was bugging me, and normally that kind of stuff doesn't. So, but anyways, Sports Talk Tonight. Gerns and Bedard. We are live from the KGVO studios. Remember, we are streaming worldwide on newstalkkgvo.com, on the AM dial 1290, on the FM side 98.3. Follow us on Twitter at Sports Talk Back. Podcast online at newstalkkgvo.com. Our phone number is always 406-721-1290. And Denny, I got right into that Grizzly football thing because we are pleased, very pleased to have joined us in studio once again, Riley Corcoran, the voice of your Montana Grizzlies.
Almost lost his house band status.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I thought he was out of country for good.
I was telling you guys before.
Do you even know where you live anymore? Or what?
I think I was in Missoula about 7 days in a 6-week span. So it's been a wild summer, but I was talking with Gerns about it. Well, the first one is the only person that's harder to track down is Greg Sundberg.
True.
That's a true statement. But for me, the last 4 or 5 years in the summer, I was always looking for a job. Right? I mean, being in North Carolina, looking for a different job than if you're a number 2 for a school, you're looking for a number 1 job. So I had that uncertainty of never being able to do it. So my dad and grandpa and myself were able to go on a 3 generations trip to Scotland and Ireland. Wow. And we were gone, played some golf over there.
The life of Riley.
Yeah.
That's right. That's not the first time I've heard that, believe it or not. But it's been great. Then you go to the lake a couple times and boom, it's football season.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Did you get to golf in knickers and unattractive plaid while you were?
I didn't get to golf in that, but I did get to golf in 30-mile-an-hour winds,
of course,
downpour, and my dad and grandpa said, let's take a break. I said, no, this is what they play in. Let's do it. And locals, when we got back, go, they only do that in the open. You idiots think that they do it all the time. I mean, we don't play in that stuff all the time.
Did you drink some room temperature Guinness?
I did.
Very good. Very good.
I went to the Guinness factory in Dublin.
Nice.
That was pretty cool.
Nice.
Even if you don't like Guinness, it tastes good.
You know what? I don't like that dark beer, but St. Patty's Day, I got a little bit of Irish in me. I'll indulge just every once in a while.
Twist your arm just a little.
Twist my arm.
Yeah.
Twist my arm. But hey, we're happy to have Riley in studio. We're going to talk. Of course, we're going to talk Montana Grizzly football. We're going to talk a little Missoula Mount Sentinel Little League action as well. But Riley said, let's talk about some baseball because, Denny, guess what fan he is of team?
Please don't tell me the Seattle Mariners.
Nope, you're wrong. Gotcha.
Thank you.
L.A. Dodger fan over here.
Oh.
The best team.
Aren't they like 90-4?
He's got a brand new hat.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I went down there to watch them beat the Giants. So that was a good one too. Right.
That's why you went to Los Angeles. I knew you.
Right.
You said, well, I'm going to be in Los Angeles, but maybe I can get back for the show on the 9th. By then, practice will have started, and we'll have stuff to talk about football-wise. So, okay, now it all comes together.
It's been a good summer.
Well, pretty impressive, too, with the Dodgers. Dodgers haven't been the healthiest team in the world, too. Justin Turner was gone for a long time. Adrian Gonzalez, the stalwart at first base, one of their leaders, has been off and on all year. Rue has been out. Clayton Kershaw is now out. Julio Urias, their phenom, who they were counting on, is now out. Thank God for Alex Wood and Cody Bellinger or Corey Bellinger.
Cody Bellinger and Yu Darvish. They just got Yu Darvish. Yeah. I mean, it's a good parallel, right? I'm working on radio already, transitioning already. Well, the depth of the Dodgers is a huge strength, kind of like the Grizzly football team this year, something we didn't see from last year's team.
See, you didn't know that I knew that much about the Dodgers.
No,
there you go.
I was just jaw was dropped.
NL fantasy baseball.
Do Los Angeles fans have Dodger mania, or do Los Angeles fans ever get any kind of mania? Or are they too laid back? Or are they crazy about the team and what they're doing?
I'll say
because it's pretty amazing. I mean,
is.
What have they won? 40 of their last 45 or something in that?
I think they broke the record 50-game stretch, they were 43-7,
There you
and that's
go.
the best in the last 100 years.
Amazing.
I'll say the fans usually show up in the third and leave in the seventh. This year, they're getting there by the second and maybe only leaving in the eighth. So if you want to say,
mania.
Dodger
mania.
Dodger mania.
Hey, and you know what? We got a little Seattle mania too, because
Yep.
the Mariners beat the Athletics today. They're 3 games over 500, and they are in the wild. If the playoffs were to start today, they would be in the playoffs.
They haven't faded like my Twins.
Well, but they've still got time. Let me tell you.
Well, we were joking about it. They were going to try and go to a game before the Grizz play UW. And I was thinking, yeah, they'll still be relevant then. They usually tank about a week after that.
Yeah.
You know, so. But
Yeah, so-
I'm rooting for your Mariners. There's a lot of Mariners fans. Sunberg, a lot of people within the office.
He doesn't count.
Nah, he's a fair weather fan.
Well, I tell you what, practice started yesterday for the Montana Grizzlies. 23 days or something like that until the first game, something like that. I was in the coach's offices yesterday morning about 7:30, and I ran into Coach Stitt, and I tell you what, it was like he was a 7-year-old running down the stairs looking for the Red Ryder BB gun. I mean, it was like Christmas morning for him. Well, I mean, is that about right?
It is. He's a different person. It seems like this year he's so much more comfortable with the group of guys, the depth that they've built, and this is so cliche, but with how last season ended, everyone came together a lot quicker and a lot sooner than expected, and that led to a good offseason. I'm so impressed by how big these guys are. First off, when you see them in person, guys, I mean, you'll be shocked. There's a lot of gains all over the place, but yeah, and then the recruiting class they have. I mean, there's just a lot of good things going on within the football department and on the football field right now.
A lot of good things. A lot of early signings already for the next year's class, and kids that look like they're going to be some good players. I tell you what, and this is a fact. You take over a program, you totally change the offense, you totally change the way things go, and it takes a while for the kids that you recruit to mesh and to come on in, and couple that with the malcontents over the past couple years. I don't care what anybody says, there was trouble going on in that program, and not necessarily on the Bob Stitt side, but from people that were there before, and coaches, players, and we've talked about this on numerous occasions. So Stitt's got his people in there, albeit his guys are still young, except for maybe some of the transfers. But I'm excited to see a team buy in and come together and play like a team.
Absolutely, because last year, I mean, the secret's out at this point. The locker room was divided. It was lost at times, and that really, those last 2 games is kind of when it showed. It wasn't an all-year thing, but get to game 11, unravel just so uncharacteristically against Northern Colorado, and then we all know what happened the next week, and it just was so bizarre on so many levels. But yeah, this year, you think about it, just the senior class, I think 14, that's the only kids that haven't been recruited by this coaching staff and Coach Stitt. So you're pretty much all his guys at this point.
I think that's why that gets used as a barometer so often. They say, well, your third year, it's not like you weren't under the microscope, but now you're really under the microscope because third year, hey, these are your guys. You got your scholarships back. So
Right.
What you got?
Yeah, you got your scholarships back, which is another piece of the puzzle. You got four extra guys or 4 scholarships to spread to whatever you want. I think personally it takes more than 3 years. Mm-hmm. I think if you really want to be honest, you got to give a coach 5. And at that point, unless some kind of tragedy, calamity or something happens, and I think if you ask Bob Stitt this too, if he's not getting it done after 5 years, he'd probably be the first one to tell you, you know what? I'm not getting it done.
So you are 4 years more patient than the average Grizz fan is what you're saying.
That is good.
Boy. Yeah, I tell you, I love our fans and I hate our fans sometimes. Yeah. They just drive me nuts.
I got a heck of an introduction this past year, just sitting back, and I love the passion.
You did.
I love the passion. I saw both sides of it, positive and negative, but it's great to see.
Speaking of, kind of being more comfortable and coming into your own, what about you? This is your second year coming up here, and what's it compare this year to last year coming in?
Wow, so much more. Relaxed. Obviously, but just have an idea of what's coming. And year one was just take everything as it came, at the time, and it was great. I mean, so many different expectations. Everything was met. I love working with the people on a daily basis, and I truly think your workplace, I think anyone could attest to this, your workplace environment, the people you work with, is a lot of how you view your job in general. And for me, I'm around positive, hardworking people on a daily basis, and that has been the greatest part for me. And it's a dream job. Year one, I mean, I took on everything. I was doing softball games. I did a soccer match, PA'd for volleyball. I mean, I love it. I just wanted to get entrenched with the community and with the programs there, and did that in year one. And year two is great. Now it's just more of maybe establishing my style a little bit, and maybe taking the bull by the horns and changing an aspect or two of things maybe that I saw that we can make better for year two.
What did you strike me as the kind of guy that you probably go home and listen to your play-by-play audio about 1,700 times, and we're all our own.
Not because he likes the sound of his own voice, but to better his broadcasts.
Yeah. Sure, Gerns, whatever you say.
I'm with Gerns on that one.
So you listen to yourself and go, Corcoran, why did you? Oh, come on, Riley. You know, because you're your own toughest critic. But were there things that you caught that you just went, oh man, how many times did I say that? Or, oops, when was the last time I gave the score? Was there anything? And be honest. I mean, maybe you didn't hear anything like that. Maybe you thought, hey, I was all right with all that stuff.
I'll say this. I will agree with Gerns. I do go back and listen because I want to get better. I mean, yeah, it always is great listening to your voice. No. But I wanted to get better each game. And I would say football-wise for me, I could really tell. I went back at the end of the year and went and listened to St. Francis, Northern Iowa. And then I listened to Idaho State and Northern Colorado at the end. And just you can just tell in my pacing and my tone that I'm more comfortable. You know, it took me a whole year maybe to get comfortable with everything. But just in that football booth, getting the pace of everything that goes on. I mean, you know this well, but during the game, there's a lot of things that you're doing rather than just looking at the field and telling people to score and what's happening. You got live reads in there, maybe too many at times, but we got live reads. Mm-hmm. You're working in Sunberg, you're working with the engineer down here, you're talking with the sideline guy off mic. It's cool, but it's like a fire by storm. I mean, you're in the driver's seat, and you're in charge of about 6 different aspects here, and you're the one that says go. And of course, that's what you live for as a play-by-play guy, but it takes some getting used to. So I would say just the growth throughout the season. Very comfortable with basketball, always with my background over at the other place. Very comfortable jumping right in. And basketball's a lot easier, I think. The pacing of it is great, and you really only have 8 to 10 guys to master rather than a roster of 60, 70.
Well, and I remember when I was doing it, it takes a while to get meshed with your color guy too. Yes. Because a lot of times he can help you out with other things, looking when timeouts get called or when the red hat comes onto the field, or he's those eyes and that ears when you're not paying attention. He goes, hey, gives you a tap and go, we gotta take a break, or we gotta do this, or we gotta do that. And I remember one of the funniest things when I go out and about, people would have said, can you tell Jolene to give the score, give the score, and I'm thinking to myself, he says it all the time. What are you listening?
Never enough.
Yeah, and it's never. Yeah, it's never enough. So it's just kind of one of those. I guess whenever you want to hear the score, you don't hear it.
Exactly.
One of those things.
This was funny. So I mean, we get emails back, feedback, both positive and negative. I saw a couple this year, and there was one. It was either Sac State or Mississippi Valley State.
I love this stuff.
And fourth quarter, that was the game. I believe it was 66-7, and Greg and I are starting to talk about the game the next week against Northern Arizona. Come to the coaches show next Tuesday. Should have a good week of practice. And we kind of get into a conversation because it's 66-7. I mean, I don't think you need the most detailed play-by-play then.
It's called filler.
Exactly. Well, we had an emailer write in and say, your announcers didn't say the score for the final 3.5 minutes of that game. And I was wondering what it was. I didn't know if it changed or not. And I take everything seriously because I want to get better. And I'm a pleaser. I'd like to please everybody, but kind of sat back at that one and just went, whew, okay. It's okay. You don't have to worry about this one. I mean, come on, right?
It's a lot to a little.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right? It's like, okay.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
We're talking with Riley Corcoran, voice of the Grizzlies. here in studio. We're going to talk some more football here after the break. But first, Denny, I think you've got a few things to say about making somebody a winner.
All right.
Yes, indeedy. Trivia time on Sports Talk tonight, 721-1290, if you know the answer. As always, brought to you by Fuddruckers, world's greatest hamburgers. Whatever you order off that amazing menu, which is ever-growing, ever-changing, you get to top it yourself to make it absolutely perfect. Wonderful selection of local microbrews at Fuddruckers on North Reserve. $10 gift certificate. And from Brent and the crew at Happy Days Car Wash. You want the best car wash? Well, you go to Happy Days, and we'll send you there with a gift card for The Works Car Wash. That's at Happy Days on Brooks between Pizza Hut and Fairbridge Inn and Suites. Also, a couple of reserve seat tickets to an upcoming Missoula Osprey baseball game. They'll be back in town for a pretty lengthy homestand starting on Friday, but they still got quite a few games to go. Congrats to the Osprey, by the way, the first half Northern Division champions in the Pioneer League, which means they are part of the playoffs. But we'll have a couple reserve seat tickets to one of their upcoming games for you. If you know the answer, 721-1290, and we will get back to football. Valparaiso coming to town September 2nd to open the football season for the University of Montana Grizzlies. That would be Valpo, an independent, A, Lutheran, B, Catholic, or C, Baptist University. Is Valparaiso an independent, A, Lutheran, B, Catholic, or C, Baptist University? I need a winner. I need one now for that phenomenal prize package at 721-1290, Gurns.
The Dog Food College Valpo.
Valpo.
Give us a call. Let's make you a winner on Sports Talk tonight. When we come back, more with Riley Corcoran, voice of the Montana Grizzlies.
CHS Mountain West Cooperative welcomes you to the Western Montana Fair. CHS has great fair deals on clothing, boots, hats, and so much more. Need something to wear to the rodeo? Check out our Wrangler, Ariat, Cinch, and Cinch Crew Girl jeans. Now 20% off. Love Carhartt? We have a nice selection of shorts and button-down short-sleeve shirts. Keep your head cool with a straw hat starting as low as $11.99. Fair deals at CHS Mountain West Cooperative in Missoula and Ronan.
Your one-stop ranch and home store, Mountain West Cooperative.
Now back to Missoula's Sports Talk tonight on KGVO.
Missoula Sports.
Every second of every day.
We are back. Sports Talk tonight brought to you in part by the Ranch Club. Golf, dining, entertainment, events, and the incredible pool. Visit them online at ranchclub.com, located just off Mullen Road. And by Grizzly Liquor, located downtown next to the Iron Horse. Big Sky, big selection, and online at grizzlyliquor.com. Also by the Orange Street Food Farm, locally owned and operated grocery store featuring the freshest fruits and vegetables, fresh meats, and a great beer and wine selection. Well, Denny, pleased once again to have in our studio with us Riley Corcoran, voice of your Montana Grizzlies, and not yours, Denny, but yours as in whoever's listening to us.
We know what you mean. It's kind of like the royal we.
And the Bobcats, don't be jealous. He's ours and not yours. So, Riley, football started yesterday. What do we got there?
got
hey, geez, we got a winner.
We got a trivia winner there, Gern.
Sorry, Jason.
Yeah, Jason Tim, Victor in transitioning to Missoula. I do believe that's how that works in between places right now. How are you, Jason?
Good. How you guys doing?
Oh, terrific. Thanks for checking in with Sports Talk tonight. We sure appreciate you being out there.
Definitely.
Let's see. Valparaiso coming to town to open the football season for the Grizz. That would be an independent A, Lutheran, B, Catholic, or C, Baptist University. What do you think there, Jason?
A, Lutheran.
The Crusaders out of Valparaiso, Indiana. Maybe the first team from Indiana that Montana's ever played. I could not confirm that one. I didn't have enough time. But see, this is when I missed the late Chris Walderskirchen. Because I could have dropped him an email and said, Walderskirchen, how many football teams from Indiana has Montana played? And he probably would have had it on a card in his wallet, you know.
Honestly, they played Indiana State back in the day. But I'll confirm that by the first broadcast.
Yeah, okay, all right. Maybe that'll be a good upcoming trivia. But yes, an independent Lutheran University. Jason, thank you so much. Congratulations. We'll get the prize package mailed out to you, and good luck with the move, all right?
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. Jason Tim, our latest winner there, Gerns.
Jeez, I apologize. I almost forgot we had I'm getting so excited about
Grizzly football. It's okay.
Everything
it's okay.
just gets put to the back burner.
I think all your listeners have been excited for you two to talk Grizzly football. I mean, right?
Oh, I think so too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the ears perk up when we get that going.
I do think so too. A lot of questions to be answered this year. Coming off a down season, lost to the Cats, and I know that that this squad has been hungry to get back out on that field. What's the offseason been like, Riley?
You can see it when they're on the field, how close they are and how hungry they were. The offseason, really, I was impressed. The player-run workouts were much more organized this year. Reese Phillips, quarterback at least of now for the Grizz, did a good job of organizing those and getting everyone on the same page. But the biggest gain you're going to see is how much bigger these guys are, what the work they did in the weight room. They had an off-season conditioning program. Matt Nicholson deserves a lot of credit, and if you talk with the coaches or if you ever run across them, they're quick to praise him because he's about the only one that can work with them through that off-season period, and he's got a program that works. I mean, our kicker bulked up 15 pounds, okay? I mean, so, and it's pure muscle. So it's a good sign to see, but the off-season was pretty busy and, again, focused just because of how last season ended. It was just so bitter that I think when everyone got back over Christmas break and they had the 6-week period of kind of figuring out what the heck just happened to us, everyone came back in January, and kind of from there, it's been a focused group.
That is it was just such an odd ending to the season, those two losses, and you've alluded to that a little bit, but I think, and I'm not trying to start something here or be the wise guy or cynical or anything like that. It just seemed like about this time last year we were talking about, well, boy, there is a lot of team unity and chemistry, and these players seem to really like each other, and I get the impression that maybe that was probably not quite as accurate. So I would like to think that you're more accurate this year.
I would agree with that because I'll even say for me, I mean, I came in last year. I didn't know much about the group coming in, but it's just we don't think about it because we want results and we think that it's, it all should go quickly and there's no down years. But last year was your perfect split. You had 2 years of Delaney recruits, and those guys were your leaders on the team, and then you had 2 guys that are kind of a different mindset in Stitt's classes, and then you just kind of had a clash towards it. So, yeah, it wasn't as cohesive as you would have thought. But what I can tell you is it's not lip service this year. It is. You can tell it. I mean, if you went to a practice, it's different from last year.
And, I don't think it's so much that the players didn't get along with each other. It's just I think when the new regime comes in and they start running things, and that's like, I tell you what, if you're a starter and you have a coaching change, you are nervous. And the 3 or 4 years that you've worked your butt off to get where you were with that previous coaching staff, and now you got somebody coming in who doesn't know anything about you, and now that, it puts people on tilt, and when things don't go the way they thought they were going to go, then things get divisive. Not maybe so much player versus player, but just kind of players going their own way and not buying into what the rest of the team is doing, and that's going to happen. And
that's very important because you're right. It's not the players disliking each other, and I guess I should have prefaced that. It is the more of, well, do we trust this game plan or do we go with what my gut or what previously had been said? And that was tough. And we focused on the last 2 games, but let's be honest. I'll be a realist for 1 second here. That Idaho State game, if they're playing anybody else, they probably fall in that one too. So you're kind of going back to the last 5 games, just with the way they were playing and kind of the spiral effect. Just because, how great was it? After 5-1, you blow out 2 teams. And then you go to Northern Arizona, and you didn't get beat. You got pretty much ran out of the Sky Dome in the second quarter. And from there, people were kind of on their heels thinking, wow, holy smokes, this hasn't happened to us. So, I mean, our only loss was to Cal Poly, and we lost by 1 point. What is this? And then you play Eastern the next week. And then all of a sudden, you start doubting yourself and exactly what you just said. And if we're trying to find the root of the problem, I know we have plenty of Grizz fans out there that probably think they know, of course. But I think working through it and talking it out, that to me, I mean, that makes a lot of sense what happened last year.
And so squash it. We're done talking about
we're
it.
Done.
All right.
And
halfway through the show, now it's about.
That's right. And
But I wasn't done being a contrary.
All right, you get one more question.
Denny. Everybody wants to know the big question this year is quarterback play.
Oh yeah, huge.
We had
Can you remember a year quite like this one as
Great
far as
question.
the
I want to know
quarterback?
this too.
As far as the quarterback situation, I'm sure it's happened before, but usually there's somebody that you'd at least call a front runner, and I don't know, other than for the sake of telling the media and everybody else, you got to have kind of a front runner. It just seems like a really unusual competition this year.
I remember back in the day, back in 2001, when John Edwards was our quarterback, and Brandon Neal transfers from Wyoming, a Great Falls kid, and there was a whole lot of scuttle about who should be the quarterback that year. Now, John Edwards was not the prettiest. Okay, John Edwards was pretty, but he wasn't the prettiest of quarterbacks. He was a tremendous leader. And sometimes he threw an ugly ball, kind of like Dave Dickinson did on occasion, and Brandon Neal was this big gunslinger that's transferring down. But other than that, me, for one, have been extremely disappointed in our quarterback play last year. Wildly inconsistent. I'm sorry, Brady Gustafson, but, the NFL, come on. I mean, you shouldn't even have been starting here towards the end of the season last year, to be honest with you. Nice kid, just very inconsistent. One game he threw for 450 yards, and the next game it looked like he had never thrown a football before. So I think that finding consistency, you don't need to be a world beater. You don't need to throw 40 touchdowns, but just being able to manage a Bob Stitt offense. I would love it if we had Jordan Johnson in the Bob Stitt offense.
I've heard that one a bunch, and just with his style of play, oh my gosh.
But you know more than me, and we were talking about this earlier. We've all got different opinions on who might be the quarterback and what have you. But what have you seen thus far? It's only been 2 days. But there was spring. We've got 3 guys to choose from, and I'm not going to ask your dead set opinion, but pluses and minuses of the 3 guys.
They all have shown signs that they could be the guy, and that's what makes it so hard. And I think all of us are there at practice, and I guess the coaching staff, myself, and the ones watching practice, and we're rooting for somebody to pull away. We don't know who it's going to be.
Brent Wahlberg, too.
Yeah, Brent's there.
So there,
of course, Brent's
sorry.
there. And then there's a couple of quarterback club guys that like sitting up top and staying away from it all. But there's 3 guys, and you want someone to pull away. You want it to be an easy decision. It doesn't matter who it is. And as of right now, you think the senior, of course, Reese Phillips, and he's got the leadership qualities, right? He plays the part, and everyone gravitates towards him, which is great. You need that in a quarterback. You need that command in the huddle that maybe we didn't have last year. That's a big part of it. But the spring game was tough for him. Facing this defense, and this is going to be the hardest thing for all of us to determine, including Coach Stitt, facing this defense every day. Is it more that the defense A, knows what you're doing, and B, is going to be really good? Or is it, okay, our quarterback needs to make better decisions? Because the interceptions have become a problem, and you certainly wouldn't want that to happen in the first quarter against Valparaiso at home, in the home opener. So I would say that would be the plus and minus for Reese. For Caleb Hill, lots of upside with his athletic ability. He makes things happen. It doesn't look the prettiest, but he has it. He has the it factor. Some of his throws look like Tim Tebow sometimes, and sometimes they're bullets, and he can scramble out of the pocket, make things happen, but it's crazy. He's the junior, right? But he's the one that has the steepest learning curve to grasp this offense because Gresh Jensen was able to learn it last year. So I would say Caleb Hill, biggest uphill climb just because of lack of experience, not because of lack of talent. For Gresh Jensen, I love this kid. Okay, he redshirted last year. He's very smart. Everybody that I talk to says he's one of the last guys out of the film room every single time. He is constantly studying, trying to get better. Maybe the knock on him would be game experience. Is he ready yet to be thrown in the fire as a freshman quarterback at the University of Montana in a year that, let's face it, you need to win? So that would be the plus and the minus. It's very intriguing. I see signs every day. I'm like, Gresh looks good. Man, Caleb made a lot of things happen. Reese, steady. Oh, my gosh.
So
what's
basically
Coach
you're
Sid
not
thinking?
telling us anything, Riley.
You know what? I will say right now, Reese has the leg up. Reese has the leg up, but and I like Gresh a lot. So that's just telling. That was kind of telling. I mean, hey, it is August 9th. If you have me on in a couple weeks, I might say a little bit.
There you go. Well, you are going to tell us more after this break when we come back on Sports Talk Tonight with Riley Corcoran, voice of the Grizzlies.
No.
Sports Talk Tonight, live from the KGVO studio.
Missoula Sports.
We're back. Sports Talk Tonight, brought to you in part by Bell McCall Ford. Great selection of new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Bell McCall is your locally owned low-cost auto dealer for over 100 years in downtown Hamilton. And by Granite Pharmacy, locally owned and operated pharmacy on South Avenue between Shopko and Big Sky High School. Find them at granitepharmacy.com. Back again with Riley Corcoran, the voice of your Montana Grizzlies. We're talking Grizzly football. Practice started 2 days ago, and I tell you what, I was down on the field 3 days ago, running routes with my kid, and they've put the cork, no pun intended, Riley Corcoran, onto the field.
Yeah,
and it's actually it's supposed to absorb the heat and cool it down a little bit more. And they were supposed to have it in last year, but they ran out of time. And it's a light green color.
Yes, and you'll see at least when I was up in the booth, and it's probably going to wear down. So I'm probably wrong by the time everyone gets in the stadium, but it's a darker shade. The field is definitely a darker shade. But yeah, I can tell you, being on the field, it's a lot cooler. But at the same time, they're going at 8 in the morning. So those hot days, or the first scrimmage, I believe, is Monday at 4 o'clock. So that'll be real. That's the first time they're going in the afternoon.
Ooh,
so
that'll be
that'll be the first time it truly gets tested because they're smart about it. They're on the field from 8 to about 11. So in the morning. So it's pretty mild now, but it looks great. It looks great.
Well, we were just talking about the quarterback situation and flip a coin at the moment for that.
Three-sided coin.
Three-sided coin. That's right. But why don't we get to, heck, as long as you're here, why don't we talk about the rest of the team?
Do it.
Running back-wise, what do we got?
More depth. We have more depth. A couple guys graduated, and now they brought in 2 transfers. A kid from Snow College, I saw for the first time today, Elijah Lee from Washington State. Jeremy Calhoun is healthy. He had surgery in the offseason, was held out of the spring. Of course, had those nasty concussions last year, which is what the team, and I would say everybody, is most worried about because you have 1 or 2 more of those. I mean, that one at Eastern Washington was pretty tough to watch. I mean, it was so bad at the time that we were up in the booth and nothing was moving. I'm thinking, is this a neck injury?
Right.
Turned out to be a concussion, but still, you worry about that, but he's fully healthy. So, number one, you have a stable horse back that can handle a workload, that could take the ball 15 to 20 times and be okay with it. And that's great. I love that. Good goal line presence. But the biggest thing is the depth that he's going to have behind him with Elijah Lee, with Trayshawn Favors, the senior, but then Cody McCombs, a guy to watch out for, Billings kid, and been taking a lot of reps. So I like the running back spot, and Coach Green, he just has a big smile, and I talked to him, I said, man, a little bit different this year. He goes, yeah, a lot of depth, a lot of guys. Nice to have some fresh bodies.
What about Ray Green?
Ray Green,
from Vancouver.
Yep, that's another guy. He's kind of in that mix. I would say it's a pretty big battle between 2 and 5. So that's how everyone always talks about starters. So we're always worried about the quarterback or who will start at right guard. Maybe that's kind of a position battle. But the backup running back position is one to watch here in the fall of who is going to emerge and get those carries behind Jeremy Calhoun.
Probably be determined in the scrimmages.
I would say so. And maybe even up through game 1, hopefully. That's knocking on wood, Grizz fans. But hopefully you have a lead in game 1, where in the second half against Valparaiso, you can give some other guys a look, and we'll see.
How about the guys catching the ball? It was funny. I think the last receiver recruit that we signed, Gurns and I were talking about it, and I said, Gurns, don't you think it's weird? Why do you need 21 players on your roster listed as receivers? And he said when he played, you thought there was pretty close to that many. And Lord knows they didn't need him because they had Scott Guernsey.
Of course,
you know,
that
was the playbook. You guys go long, I'll throw it to Gurns. Yeah, but you said that in your playing days that wasn't really out of the norm.
Well, we ran 4 receivers, and you recruited 4 or 5 kids every class. You know, so I mean, that was thinking back on it. That's probably pretty close to what they're doing now.
And I think that's about the number. But the difference is this year they can rely on maybe 10 guys. They think they're 10 deep, and that is amazing, a receiver. And
there are some long, young athletes.
Yes,
in that
there are. Sammy Akem's the guy to watch out for. I mean, just to comment on the group in general, the most complete group, I think, of any position group. Mike Ferreter, the guy deserves a shout-out. I mean, he's done a great job, and he's in control of all the receivers now because of course, Troxel having his couple-week internship and then moving to Iowa State. But Ferreter's done a great job with them, and they're just deep at all levels. And you think about it at times, right? And last year there was a lot on the roster, but did you really see much rotation from Keenan Curran, Calhoun, Jerry Louis McGee, or Horner?
And I guess really. That's why I raised the question.
Right, exactly. And that's a big part of it because you didn't see the guys behind them very much. Well, this year, different. And I'm telling you, you're going to see a lot of wide receiver rotations, and that's great because there's more guys that can get on the action, and everybody's fresh. Samori Toure is another guy. He moved to the Z, so he is Jerry's primary backup. And, of course, that Z receiver, they're running around the field a lot. So Jerry, be able to stay fresh, put Toure in there for a couple. Sammy Akem, again, a guy on the outside. And then you got Calhoun and Kern, and I haven't even talked about the H's. Josh Horner, fully recovered, Great Falls kid. Colin Bingham, our Missoula product, and McKenna Simas. And McKenna Simas is one of those guys that's emerged into a team leader that there's an interview with him, slight plug here, on GoGrizz.com today after practice, him and I, and just so well put together. And you can see the difference in just interviewing team captains from last year, not going to say any names, to this year, and you see it, that he is so well put together. You got to just watch the interview, but McKenna Simas leads the group of H's, and they are really deep at wide receiver is the short answer, even though I gave the long one.
And what a great story. You know, the kid comes here as a quarterback. He's in the mix the first year with Stitt, and then it didn't work out so well.
Had one great game.
Yeah, and they ask him to move, and instead of, you know, taking his football and going home and maybe dropping down and going somewhere else, he says, you know what? I love this team. I'm going to switch positions, and I'm thinking, I tell you what, spring game, he looks like a wide receiver now.
He needs to put on 15 pounds of muscle. He's at 252 right now. And he looks stout. I'm telling you. Watching him catch passes, it's amazing. But off your point, at the end of the interview, he asked the question that, you know, what can young guys learn from you? And he had a phenomenal answer. And immediately, too. He said, well, the biggest misconception coming in is you're going to come in, contribute right away. Well, if that doesn't happen and everybody is going to redshirt, pretty much, you don't think that's going to be the case. Well, he said people can learn a lot in the case of you got to be patient and do whatever you can to help the team win. It's just such a fresh, different mindset about it. But yeah, that's a great point because he started as a quarterback, one big game, and then had to move on. And really, he's number 3 on the depth chart. You could maybe say at the H. I really don't know how they have the H's broke down because they're all solid. But he wants to get on the field anyway. So what's he been? He's been the holder. He's been the holder. He wants to get on the field, wants to help the team. you know what? That's never been a question if McKenna Simmons is going to get a hold down because he's just that kind of guy. So it's good to have those guys leading your football team and being your team representative.
Nice. On to the O-line, the engine.
The O-line, you have 4 seniors, so you have a lot of experience, and then Angel Villanueva, who was a freshman starter last year. Cooper Sprunk, what a great decision, I thought. They brought him to the Big Sky Conference Media Days. Another good representative. People gravitate towards him.
Except for that mustache that he had going on there. What was up with that?
He's not getting rid of that. He's not.
Boy.
That thing.
That's one of his props. It's his comedic effect.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. There were people that were coming up. I think he even had the question. This is okay for radio. He had someone come up and say, what a porn stash you've got there. And I'm just like, oh, my. This is a formal interview on TV.
Don't.
So it was great. But so he's at center. He's a returning starter because he filled in for Ben Wire last year. So you've got good talent on the left side. David Reese, first team All Big Sky guy. He was out for some of the spring. He's good to go. I'm worried a little bit on the right side. Right guard coming in, Robert Luke, just not much game experience. And then Mike Ralston, a phenomenal story. He's another guy. He's like a McKenna Simmons. He's had to move, I think, 3 or 4 different positions. He was on the D line, or he was on defense.
D-end, I believe.
Yeah, then moved to receiver and had to drop a lot of weight. And then this year they go, well, I'm going to have a spot at right tackle. It's all right. He weighs 301 pounds now. And he came in the last fall camp, I want to say 240, 50. Just the body transformation. So you have experience on the O-line. You have 4 seniors, and then Angel Villanueva too. So pretty solid. Just the right side doesn't have too much experience, I guess, if we're being honest. But at the same time, that's a good group, and they're going to be important for whoever the quarterback is because, boy, they can make the difference in the world if the quarterback's got confidence.
How about when Ralston's in there, tackle-eligible play?
There you go.
Have you talked to Coach Stitt about that? You can take credit for that if you need to. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell him that I came up with that.
Okay. Just give me the
tackle-eligible.
Give me just a sign. Just a wink.
That's all you want. That's all you want. Or just the attaboy type deal. That would be a good play.
Talking with Riley Corcoran, the voice of the Grizzlies here. We're breaking down the upcoming season and, I guess, position by position. Special teams, punter and kicker.
Well, Brandon Purdy is had a great offseason. Tim Semenza, of course, started the season as the kicker. Just had the extra point problems. And I think it just became a case where, unfortunately, kickers, they have a unique role, right? I mean, you come on the field X amount of times per game, and then you stand on the sideline the whole time. So if you tend to miss a kick, you get in your own head. And I think that just is what happened with Tim. And the crazy thing about it is the kick that started it all was the miss against Cal Poly. But to me, that's not his fault. It was a 48-yarder with some swirling wind. The team should have gotten closer. So anyway, that kind of started the effect. And then you start seeing the extra point misses. And that's what you can't have. Right? At the end of the day, make all your extra points. They're basically free points, and then you try and find someone that's solid from inside 40 yards. But long answer again, but Brandon Purdy has emerged, though. He's the Kalispell product. He's went to some camps over the summer. He looks great. Eric Williams, they went to camps together, so it's good. Good even on that level. Your senior punter and your kicker. I mean, they're getting after it. So I'll say Purdy will come in as the starter, lefty, and then Eric Williams, again, a Missoula kid. So it's nice to see some homegrown products, Missoula and Kalispell being the starters there.
But those kickers, we called each other geekers back in the day.
Geekers.
Me and Andy Larson, and a left-footed kicker. That makes a lot of sense because they are not normal, and that's a good thing.
I actually get to talk with them a lot at practice, just in conversation. I'll say that to Brandon. He'll get a laugh out of it. I'll say left-footed kicker. You guys are a little different. They admit it all the time. It's all in.
Maybe it balances out.
Yes. There you go.
Hey, we're going to take our last break. When we come back, we'll break down the defense with Riley Corcoran on Sports Talk Tonight.
And the Ad Council.
Now back to Missoula's Sports Talk Tonight on KGVO.
Missoula Sports.
Every second of every day.
We're back. Sports Talk Tonight. Brought to you in part by the Peak Health and Wellness, with 3 premier facilities in Missoula and a dedicated staff to help you achieve and maintain your health and wellness goals. By Jerry Wessel's Tire Center, a locally owned Les Schwab Tire Center provides the best tire value promise. Visit them online at jerrywesselstirecenter.com. By CHS Mountain West Co-op, Western Montana's source for Cynic's fuel, feed, fertilizer, clothing, and tack for over 75 years. and our guest, Mr. Riley Corcoran, brought to you, as always, by First Montana Bank. Your home for free Centennial checking plus unlimited cash back every time you use your debit card online at firstmontanabank.com.
Before we get back to Riley, we better get to Scott Guernsey's Steel of the Week. That brought to you by True North Steel, Western Montana's industry leader in quality manufactured and fabricated steel products. Guerns.
This is why I do not like Facebook and Snapchat all too much.
That's
the stupid team of the week. The girls, Little League softball championships for 12 through 15-year-olds. I don't even know where it's taken place, but the team from Atlee, Virginia, defeats Kirkland to advance to the national championship.
And that's where it's taking place, by the way. Kirkland's the host team.
To the championship game. So Atlee's going, they're all excited, and they take a picture in their dugout, and the girls are flipping off the camera, and they post it. And somebody sees it, calls the head of the Little League, blah, blah, blah. They see it. They disqualify the team for unsportsman,
Poor
sports, blah, blah, blah. Apparently, the home team, Kirkland, had not treated them very well, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. You got to be smart. A very harsh lesson to learn.
Yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes you got to learn those things. So they disqualify them. Kirkland goes on to the championship game, and they lose to Ohio 7-1.
And I guess that was one of the knocks on the punishment is that, well, the punishment doesn't fit the crime. In that situation, I don't know what other punishment there would have been.
Because the team's done after the next day. So
yeah, I mean,
I will not flip people off. Write that 100 times on the blackboard.
What is the mantra of Little League baseball? Sportsmanship. Period.
Yep.
So, anyways, stupid girls. They're not stupid girls. Stupid girls for doing that.
Was that a combo? Stupid and steel there? Or
no.
Okay.
Steel. If you have it, the 12U All-Star team for Missoula played at 5:00. They played Idaho. I don't know a score.
I'll look it up right now.
They beat Alaska 12-0. They're playing Oregon. They dominate all game long. They leave 10 runners on base in the first 6 innings. It's 2-2. They go into extra. Oregon's the home team. They have last ups. They end up winning a walk-off. They win 3-2 and steal that victory. But I take Caden Sheridan pitched the whole damn game. 86 pitched masterfully. Adam Jones, just a hitting machine.
Yeah.
And that would be my steal. They went on the next day to beat Wyoming 6-1.
And they're playing right now, and I'm loading it, and the anticipation's killing all of us.
It is.
But we'll see what the score. They're playing Lewiston, Idaho. Good news. They're up 16-1 in the 4th inning.
16-1. It's going to be a short game.
So they will move on to the final 3. They will be on ESPN on Friday afternoon. So mark your calendars.
And Caden, one of our guests last week on
that's
Sports
right.
Talk
And
Tonight.
Connor Dick actually hurt his finger and did not get to play in that second.
Man.
I think he's out.
That's tough.
But
So how about this? 2 more wins, and they're going to Williamsport.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So they're probably playing Washington.
They play the loser of the Washington-Oregon game.
And then
if they win, they get to the championship.
And they got to beat them twice.
No,
Oh, just once?
Just once.
Nice.
So
Steel.
2 wins away.
Steel of the Week brought to you by True North Steel, Western Montana's industry leader in quality manufactured and fabricated steel products.
All right, not to cut the defense short, but I'm going to because I'm an offensive kind of guy. Defensively,
everybody's bragging.
So they say, strength of the defense is that D-line. Am I wrong? Or are they all strong?
I mean, pretty tough to not say the linebackers. You return everybody. But yes, the D-line, it is because of the depth. Because you have a guy like David Shaw that's just a behemoth.
6'5", 310.
And he'll probably rotate it off the bench because you have Brant Davidson and Jesse Sims playing there. Then you have Tucker Shy at the end spot and the sleeper. And maybe he's not a sleeper anymore, but the name you don't know yet that you will know is Chris Favaroso. So he's the JUCO kid we brought in.
He's a wrestler, right?
Florida native, yep. Arizona Western. And I expect him to make big strides. I mean, you had Kidder and Johnson last year on the ends. That's a pretty big loss. But I'll make the bold prediction we don't lose a step at D end with Shy and Favaroso.
As a group,
yes,
probably stronger.
Yes, as a group they are stronger. And then you return all 3 of your linebackers. And Josh Buss looks bigger, faster, stronger. You've got Connor Strom in the middle with James Banks. But Vika Fa'atuiese, that's another guy. He'll be in the mix at middle linebacker, let's say. So you've got a bunch of guys that are in the mix at the linebacker spot. The strength is definitely the D-line, but how about the safeties? Josh Sandry and Justin Strong? I mean, hello. I don't want to go on the
How
back
good
end.
does Sandry look?
He looks unreal. He picked up right where he left off. I don't know if you got to see the pictures from the first practice. I mean, he had an acrobatic pick six, 50 yards the other way. He just has the it factor, and I think he might be a little motivated. Last year, I think there were some that thought he could have been playing over Yeaman Sanders. So whether that's true or not, this year he's motivated, he's focused, and again, a Big Fork kid. Don't you love that? We've been talking about a couple position groups. Big Fork, Kalispell, Missoula. It's just nice to see that as well.
And we'll just put this out there now. Connor Strom got in a little bit of trouble.
Yes.
Got a little drinking and driving incident, and I don't know this, but I'm assuming he's going to be suspended for the first 2 games.
It hasn't been announced, and really, I don't know. I think it's got to go to the student
The conduct code is missing 10% of your games, which is 1.1 games, which in the past generally has been
correct
2 games. What about our cornerbacks?
Cornerbacks, Ryan McKinley, Markel Sanders return. A little bit suspect last year. Markel Sanders, the leader of that group. Ryan McKinley, Washington State transfer. They just seem to be more comfortable. Again, they're coming into their own. Biggest question there, though, is lack of depth. The corner position, there's not much. They put Darian Nash over. He was a wide receiver, moved him. So I think the list is down to 20 receivers now. But they moved him to corner, and then Lewis Cowens is in the mix. But that's a big one. I mean, injuries always play a part, right? You never hope anyone, but it's football. It's going to happen. That's one position I would say the Grizzlies probably can't get injured at is cornerback. But back end looks solid. More than last year. I mean, you saw NAU. Those NAU and Eastern games were tough to watch because how many times they got burned deep.
Right.
I can't see that happening too much this year.
Speaking of motivation,
Yeah.
Kickoff Classic, Park City, Utah, Big Sky Conference preseason meetings. Montana picked by the media and the coaches to finish 6th, and the coach can give the politically correct answer. That's about where we should be after the way we finished last year. But motivation-wise, it's got to be a fire under somebody's butt.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, people, you can tell that just the mantra of the team, and they are coming in. This is unheralded territory for the Grizzlies. They're not in the top 25. They weren't picked in the top 5 of the league. Like, that's never happened before. So they have a chip on their shoulder, and rightfully so. I mean, whatever it takes this year. I think with how everything ended last year, and again, how we talked about it, locker room, all that stuff, it's just great to see that everyone's on the same page. They're all focused because, yeah, there's a fire lit underneath them that they probably won't say it publicly, and nor they don't need to. They don't need to put any bulletin board material for anyone else. They just focus on your task at hand. Be Grizzly football players, and you got 3 of your first 4 games at home. All the tough ones on paper are at home. That's good.
Yep.
Well, hey, we would like to thank Riley. Appreciate you coming on and giving us your insight. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
3 weeks.
I'm more fired up now.
As always, guys.
Yeah.
Anytime.
I tried not to get as excited this year as I did last year, but that'll fizzle soon.
Well, I'll get you pumped up then.
Yeah, you will.
Oh yeah.
You motivate me during the pregame show.
That's right, baby.
Yeah.
We're going to be counting down the minutes here shortly.
First coaches show Thursday night, August 31st, I want to say.
Correct.
Rod, does that sound right?
Correct, yes. 6 o'clock.
Riley's Grizzly Sports Reports start on Monday, the 28th, right here on Newstalk KGVO and KLYQ. So looking forward to hearing that as always.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me on, and anytime you want, I'll stop by.
There we go. Sports Talk tonight. Denny, I will see you next week. You have a great
got it, buddy.
weekend, my friend.
Likewise.
We're out of here.